There's so many people in society right now that are just so scared to show emotion and so scared to be themselves, and you shouldn't be, you just shouldn't be. But everyone in their own time. It takes time to learn who you want to be and what you believe in.
We all have those moments where we need a little encouragement to get through our day. Someone to remind us that we are not alone. Find peace. Embrace joy. Seek God daily. Welcome to Jesus Calling Stories of Faith. Our guest is professional championship skateboarder Ryan Sheckler. When Ryan was just 18 months old, he found his dad's old school skateboard and taught himself to push it around using one knee, and eventually stood up on the skateboard. When he was 13, Ryan became one of the world's youngest professionals in the sport, winning multiple competitions. At 17, he was the star of his own MTV reality show, The Life of Ryan. While his talent and fame grew, so did the lack of structure that was around him. He was pulled into the drinking and party lifestyle that came with his success, and eventually found himself with an alcohol addiction that threatened to bring down all the hard work he had put into his sport and into his life. Ryan shares his journey to that moment where he knew things had to change.
I am Ryan Sheckler. I'm 30 years old. I skateboard professionally. I live in San Clemente, California. And man, I've been skating for 28 years now. I turned pro when I was 13, and that's kind of when the whirlwind started of my life and my career, and had no idea the amazing life lessons I was going to learn and be able to overcome in that period of time. This last 28 years has been packed. Man, I was always a crazy kid. So as a young kid, I was always climbing up buildings, jumping off things, like on the roof, loved the trampoline, loved just anything that was, I guess, adrenaline based. And anything I could get that free falling feeling in my stomach where I jumped off something and you jump off a big rock, you get the butterflies. I love that feeling. That's my feeling. And so I think when I was 6, maybe turning 7, I won my first contest. And the emotions that I went through that day were so crazy because I was prepared, I was ready for the contest, and then the second right before they called my name, I started crying. And I was so emotional, but not sad. I couldn't control it. This is how much I wanted it. And my dad hugged me, and we talked, and it was all good. Then we said a prayer, and then I went out and I won my first contest. And I was so in tune with the Lord and going to church, and then realized that skateboarding was my gift. That's something I did know. I did know that was my gift because it came so fluently to me. Not easy, but fluent. It was I could figure it out, And around 13 is when I started getting really kind of noticed from the world, and the skate world especially. And my goal was just to, honestly, it sounds crazy now, but it was my goal, I wanted to be as good, if not better, than my neighbors. And my neighbors were all 4 years older than me. And so they were the big kids, and I wanted to be like the big kids. And a lot of them stopped skating, and I just never stopped. I never stopped. I was hooked. And then I turned pro. And I had no idea, I didn't know I was turning pro at 13. I would goof around skating with my friends and tell them 21 sounds like a good age to turn pro, as a kid, I got to put the time in. But that's already how I knew. I knew I had to put some serious time in if I ever wanted to be pro. And I thought maybe 20 years would get me there. And then it was 13. And then that year of 13, I won every single pro contest as the rookie. And then the doors opened. And then all of a sudden, I didn't even realize that years went by where I had traveled 6 or 7 months out of the whole year, and then it was just over. And then all of a sudden, I'm 18, and I'm buying a house. And I had no structure. I had no structure. No adult around, no one telling me hey guys, you shouldn't party. Hey, you shouldn't stay up this late. Hey, you shouldn't do this. There was no one telling me that. So we learned by ourselves. From 13 to 18, 13 to 22 maybe, I kind of fell out of track with the practice of praying and the practice of actually getting to know Christ and really living believing that he was dictating my life. I really thought I was in control, and that's the huge step for me, was admitting that I was powerless, and I couldn't do it without him. I could not do anything else without him. My life literally got into shambles. When you're in the state of abusing any substance, for me it was alcohol. When you're in that state, your brain does this weird thing where it won't even allow you to have the chance to say no. It won't, it's not even a thing. You just you shouldn't have a drink. You know you shouldn't. But my brain's not doing the whole thing of well, let's break it down, right? Here's the pros, here's the pros, here's the pros, here's the cons, all the cons. You don't do that with the alcoholic mind. It doesn't do that. It just all right, well, I guess we're gonna have a drink. And then it's that whole backstep process. And for me, I always had super good friends around. I had amazing friends around. And they just, they couldn't really see that it was a problem because I was getting my stuff done. I was still being functional. I was still doing it. But yeah, I got caught up. And like I said before, that was from having really no guidance. I had no guidance. We had friends that wanted to hang out, and it was cool because we were going on private planes and we're getting invited to all this cool stuff. And you kind of lose track of reality. And as a kid with no base on how an adult is supposed to be, I didn't know where I was. And so, but I've always had this incredible group of friends. When I checked into rehab, my mom, she picked me up from the airport, which was a really traumatic and scary experience. But it was the best experience of my life, watching my mom turn around and leave me at this place that was supposed to help me, and watching her turn out of the gate gives me the chills, almost makes me want to cry because it was so gnarly. But that was it. The second she turned her car out, and I was a wreck. I had absolutely hit a wall and decided that I needed to fix something because I had started to lose my passion for skateboarding. I've been skateboarding since I was 2 years old. And all of a sudden this alcohol is gonna take me away from the biggest passion of my life? No, it wasn't acceptable to me. I got this wave, and it just happened again right now. I got this wave over me that was just, you're good. You're in the right spot. Thank you for listening. I'm gonna help you. And then it was on. I had no detox days, no nothing. I just stayed the night, first night, went straight into the meetings the next day. Right into group, and just being vulnerable. And that's the biggest thing too I learned from my experience through, that recovery was being vulnerable. It's not lame to be vulnerable. It's not bad to tell people how you're thinking, or to really express emotion, or to cry. It's not bad. That's what we're supposed to do. My mom gave me that Jesus calling right when I got there. And that first night I started reading it, and I didn't even pick a day. I just started reading it. I wanted it. I wanted to feel something. And I started feeling it, and then I read it every single day that I was there. So my mom had been reading Jesus Calling to us. She would send me little excerpts on my phone. So I knew about Jesus Calling, I just never had my own book. And then once I got it at rehab, I did read. The first day that I was there was February 3rd. And that's so crazy, I just started reading this again, and it really, this is crazy actually. This is crazy. I am with you and for you. You face nothing alone, nothing. When you feel anxious, know that you are focusing on the visible world and leaving me out of the picture. The remedy is simple. Fix your eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Verbalize your trust in me, the living one who sees you always. I will get you safely through this day and all your days. But you can find me only in the present. Each day is a precious gift from my Father. How ridiculous to grasp for future gifts when today is set before you. Receive today's gifts gratefully, unwrapping it tenderly and delving into its depths. As your Savior, this gift, you find me. Yeah, so it was like you face nothing alone. And I was like, pfft. That's why I got that crazy sense of calm when my mom left. And I went straight into the room, and obviously you had to do all the intake and all that noise, but like once you actually get into your room and like have that first like, okay, I'm here, now what? And then I opened this book and saw that I wasn't alone. I'm like, I'm in the right spot. 5 days after being there, I got a call from Michael Phelps, who was a friend, and he was very proud of me for being in there. And then he sent me a couple Rick Warren books, and he sent me another copy of Jesus Calling, and explained to me how he went through similar things. And in my mind, I'm like, this is Captain America, like, this is Aquaman, like, this guy went through what I'm going through, and then it clicked. I'm like, oh, none of us are alone in this world. Like, we are not alone, and we're supposed to go through this pain to be able to teach this lesson. I can't waste the pain. I do not want to waste the pain that I've been through. So whether that means through this experience, through an injury, coming back, how can I help you recover from your injury because I've been through it? This is all part of this is my ministry, honestly. It's like being in the place I'm in now from being through what I've been through.
We'll be right back with more of Ryan's story after this message from Jesus Calling about how you can pray together with other Jesus Calling readers via the Jesus Calling weekly prayer call. Did you know that Sarah Young, the author of Jesus Calling, prays for her readers each day? In that spirit, we want to extend the Jesus Calling prayer community out to you in a more personal way. Each Tuesday morning, you can dial into the Jesus Calling weekly prayer call, where the team from Jesus Calling and special guests will minister to us during a 10-minute call to reflect on that day's passage from Jesus Calling, read scripture references, and pray together for each other and our world. Prayer call times are 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Mountain, and 5 a.m. Pacific, and are for U.S. only. For more information on the Jesus Calling weekly prayer call or to submit prayer requests, please visit jesuscalling.com/prayer-call. Ryan began to approach life from a new perspective, one that had him seeking who he was going to be in this new season. He shares what it meant to him to begin following God's plan for his life and the multitude of ways he's been able to help and encourage others by opening himself up to what God was showing him, his true purpose.
I went through the program and then just learned. I learned everything I needed to do and everything I needed to be and become to have this next chapter, which is, my 30 to 60, see what happens here. But yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it without the Lord. And it's a struggle, but if you really submit and give your life to Christ and just really believe daily that like you get another chance, you're gonna make some good decisions. I grew up as a Christian. I went to church. I believed, but I didn't understand what it meant to really believe that Jesus died on the cross for my sins. Like, I had heard that, and I knew about that, but I didn't know. I didn't feel it. I didn't really feel that when I envisioned it and when I really got deep into my mind of visualizing the Lord and him on the cross and bleeding, and that's when it hit me. That's when it hit me that I really am forgiven for my sins. Like, I'm forgiven daily, and do not waste it. Each day is another chance to do better than you did the day before. And that's really how I've been living the last 5.5 years has really been focused on the Lord and really trying to follow his will for my life. And it's the craziest thing. It's so special. It's awesome. I'm really here for a reason. I know it. The foundation now has been going on for almost 13 years. Yeah, about 13 years. And our main thing is be the change. And be the change is as simple as, like, if you see someone hurting, just go help them. Be the change you want to see. You know, what change do you want to see in your community? The way people are treating each other. It could even be community service or like a plan that's coming in for your city. What do you want to see change? Like actually just go out and be a part of something. Like be a part of where you live. We need to give it back. We need to give back. And that's when Sheckler Foundation started, and our first thing was auctioning off my Range Rover, which I loved, you know, but it was material. It's what it is. And we auctioned it off. And then I realized that I really liked working with autistic children. They're so pure, so fun, and just the smiles and the laughs you get when you drop in with them, they lose their belly. It's a really wild experience because their parents start crying because they never heard their kid laugh. And like, we've brought out probably over 100 laughters from different kids in here where their parents have literally crying, holding me, like, I've never heard him laugh. Never heard him laugh. This kid's 7 years old, you know? It's like, and then boom, skateboarding. And like, that's what we're supposed to do. So my homies in the wheelchairs that rip. I got skaters with prosthetic legs, prosthetic arms, and they rip. There's too much hate going around. There's too much hate, and there's too much, yeah, I guess it's just hate, because hate is the spawn of telling a kid that he's not good enough, you know? Which is so unreal. These kids don't even know what they're good at yet. You gotta give them options. So I bring the Jesus Calling book on tour with me, and I always find one of my skaters that is curious about the Lord, because I talk about him all the time. And I don't preach, like I do not preach to anyone. I talk about him because I'm constantly talking to him daily in my mind. So it's just natural for me to talk about the Lord. And I give these books out. And I give a couple books out, and I check in on my homies and see if they're reading it, or I'll send them the page from that day, you know, just to see, and they're like, I already read it. I'm like, there we go. So we're just spreading it, you know, we're just spreading love, and the book's amazing. The book's incredible. And you don't even have to read the day that it is. If you just literally, this page is gonna speak to you. And I do that all the time. You can't be hard on yourself. You can't, you really can't. It's like, okay, I made it. I did a dumb mistake. Dang it, Lord, thank you for forgiving me. And I really, truly believe that you forgave me. I don't know why you did, but thank you. And I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna do better. Be where your feet are. So simple, be where your feet are, which means right here, right now, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm here in this room with you guys doing this. And that keeps me present. That keeps me in the mode. And I just find myself saying that to myself all day long. I'll be standing somewhere and I'm thinking about something else. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Be where your feet are. And the second I calm down and like realize where I'm at and I'm present, then things start happening. But it's not until you're present. It took me 30 years to learn.
You can find out more about the Sheckler Foundation by visiting shecklerfoundation.org today. Thank you for watching Jesus Calling Stories of Faith. To learn more about how to keep up with our shows bi-monthly and to listen to our weekly podcast, please visit youtube.com/JesusCallingBook to view and hear previous episodes, and to watch a short informational video about how to access all things Jesus Calling on audio and video formats. Plus, learn how to subscribe to our podcast and video channels. Your subscription helps get the word out to more people who will benefit from these inspirational stories of faith.